Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Tonight I have a chilling story for you, one that still sends shivers down the spine of anyone who hears it. So turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready for tonight's tale. The Man in the Parking Lot. It was late autumn in the small city of Billings, Montana. The air was already cold enough to frost the windshields at night, and the streets emptied early after dark. Most people here enjoyed the quiet, the sense of safety that came with living far away from big city crime. But for 24-year-old Emily Carter, what began as an ordinary evening turned into a nightmare she would never forget. Emily worked part-time at a family-owned diner near the edge of town. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid her rent and kept her busy while she finished her college degree. She usually worked the evening shift, leaving around 10:30 p.m., when the last of the coffee drinkers had finally gone home. That night, the diner was unusually quiet. Only 2 tables were filled during her last hour, and by the time she closed out her section, she was more tired than usual. She clocked out, tied her scarf tighter around her neck, and stepped outside into the deserted parking lot. The lot was poorly lit, just one flickering lamp near the dumpster in the far corner. Emily's car, a beat-up blue Honda Civic, was parked closer to the edge of the lot. She shivered, partly from the cold, partly from the silence. That's when she noticed him. A man was standing near the far end of the lot, just beyond the reach of the flickering light. He wasn't moving, just watching. Emily's pulse quickened. She tried not to stare, fumbling for her keys as she walked faster toward her car. Maybe he was just passing through, maybe he had a car there too. But the space around him was empty. She slid into her car, locked the doors, and started the engine. Her headlights illuminated him for just a moment. He was tall, wearing a heavy coat, his face partially hidden beneath the shadow of a hood. He didn't move when the light hit him. He just stood there facing her. Emily drove off quickly, her hands gripping the steering wheel tighter than usual. By the time she pulled into her apartment complex, 15 minutes later, she had convinced herself it was nothing. Just a man in a parking lot, maybe waiting for someone. Still, she couldn't shake the image of his stillness, the way he seemed to stare right at her. The following night, Emily had the same closing shift. She laughed at herself when she remembered how spooked she'd been. But when she left work, her laughter died in her throat. There he was again. Same spot, same coat, same motionless stance. Emily's heart pounded. She looked around, hoping someone else was in the lot, but it was empty. Her manager had already left, and the cook had gone out the back way. This time she didn't walk, she ran to her car. The man didn't chase her, didn't move at all. But as she sped out of the lot, she looked in her rear-view mirror. For just a second, she swore she saw his head turn, following her car as she drove away. By the third night, Emily dreaded leaving work. She even considered asking a co-worker to walk her out, but it felt embarrassing. What if she was imagining things? Still, when 10:30 rolled around, she hesitated at the door, peering out into the parking lot. At first it looked empty. Relief flooded through her until she noticed him again, standing closer this time, not at the far end of the lot, but near the middle, a few spaces away from her car. Emily froze. Her body screamed at her to turn around, to call someone, anyone. But she couldn't move. The man didn't come closer, but his posture was different. This time he was leaning slightly forward as if waiting for her to step outside. She dialed her phone quickly, calling her roommate, Jenna. "Hey, can you just stay on the line with me?" Emily whispered. "There's this guy. He's here again." Jenna's voice grew serious. "Emily, don't get out there alone. Go back inside and tell someone." But the diner was already locked. Emily had no choice. Gathering every ounce of courage, she pushed the door open and bolted to her car. The man took one slow step forward, then stopped. He didn't chase her. He didn't need to. By the time Emily drove off, her hands were shaking so badly she could barely hold the wheel. The days that followed blurred together. She tried convincing herself it was just coincidence. Maybe he was homeless. Maybe he just happened to be in the same spot. But deep down, she knew better. One night, she decided to test it. Instead of going straight home, she drove around aimlessly, taking random turns through dark residential streets. She checked her mirrors constantly. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But then, several cars behind her, she noticed headlights. They followed her turn after turn. Her stomach dropped. She sped up, made another turn, then another. The headlights stayed behind her. It was him. It had to be. Panic set in. She pulled into a brightly lit gas station, her heart racing. The car behind her slowed but didn't stop. It rolled past the station and disappeared down the road. Emily sat in her car, trembling. She realized this was no coincidence. Whoever he wasn't just watching anymore. He was following. The next morning, Emily filed a police report. The officer listened patiently, but without clear evidence. There wasn't much they could do. Just be cautious, he advised. If you see him again, call us immediately. That night, she convinced Jenna to pick her up after work. Having someone with her helped, at least for a little while. The man didn't show up in the lot that night, nor the next. For the first time in days, Emily allowed herself to relax. But the nightmare wasn't over. It was a Friday when Jenna went out of town for the weekend, leaving Emily alone. Emily debated calling out of work, but she couldn't afford to miss a shift. She told herself it would be fine. She hadn't seen the man in almost a week. Her shift ended later than usual, closer to midnight. The diner's lot was nearly pitch black, the single lamp finally burnt out. Emily swallowed hard, forcing herself forward. Her keys jingled in her hand as she unlocked her car. Just as she reached for the handle, she heard it. The sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, behind her. Emily spun around. He was there, closer than ever. She didn't think. She dove into her car, slammed the door, and hit the locks. The man lunged forward, his hand slapping against her window. His face finally visible, pale, hollow-eyed. With a twisted grin that froze her blood, Emily screamed, throwing the car into reverse. The man pounded on her window once, then stepped back as she sped out of the lot. Her heart hammered in her chest as she drove straight to the police station. Tears blurring her vision. The police took her seriously this time. They searched the lot, but the man was gone. For weeks after, patrol cars kept an eye on the diner at closing time. Emily never saw him again. But to this day, she can still see his face in her mind. The hollow eyes, the grin, the hand pressed against the glass. And she'll never forget the feeling that if she had hesitated even for a second longer, she might not have made it out alive. Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel. And remember, sometimes the scariest monsters aren't hiding in the shadows. They're standing right in front of you.